All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your final match of Group A for the International 3 East Qualifiers. I'm LD. I'm joined here by Merlini. And Merlini, we're going to get a rematch of the very first game of Group A. I see Kawa face-palming right now, so something has clearly gone very wrong. In fact, I am Ben Wu. Very proud to but I looked at the preview
And I'm
monitor.
LD.
Yeah. What do you know? We've done a little role reversal here, and, well, if you're Rattlesnake, hopefully they've done a bit of a role reversal too, because they got kind of destroyed in games 2 and 3 by first departure. The pocket wisp pick in game 2, and then I was much more impressed by game 3 the first time around. These two teams, when they played each other last time, first departure walked away with, I would say, a pretty convincing 2-1 victory. But if you remove the wisp from the equation, is it going to be the same story?
Yeah, I mean, I think that most people anticipated that perhaps LGD Rattlesnake would be the most interesting matchup of Group A, but that matchup hasn't even happened, and it won't happen. And I think that Rattlesnake First Departure will be the game and the best BO3 series in the Group A. And I'm glad that we see it twice. So we saw 2-1 in favor of Rattlesnake, or 2-1 in favor of First Departure, but Rattlesnake actually took the very first game, and it was quite convincing.
Yeah, of course, that match does have two pretty good teams. First departure, Rattlesnake, it is going to be a best of 3. Winner of this match is going to move on into the next phase. The loser, the run ends here. The road ends here for them. So with that being said, I think it's a great time to start introducing our teams. We'll start with whoever Kawa has queued up. Let's walk through them right now. Well, actually, we'll look at the rosters first. I'm clearly very comfortable and polished in my host role. First departure, not quite as good of a team photo, so for that, I'm going to dock them 2 points and say Rattlesnake are automatically my favorite team, and at least to take this match. And that's kind of how I feel about it on a legitimate note, is I think Rattlesnake is the more well-rounded team. First departure had some flashy play. I don't think they're going to be as consistent, but both teams looking pretty there. And with that being said, we'll move right along into the player introduction. So on the side of First Departure, we have Miracle. He is really the playmaker for this team, whether he's a carry or support. We saw that yesterday with the Wisp. We've seen it in the past with his anti-mage. He's the engine that drives this team. Moving right along, we're going to introduce our next player. I really can't read this monitor, but it's Poisson playing, well, his Magnus or his Puck. 80% of the games, I would say he plays Magnus. If he doesn't get that, it'll be Puck. Tinker's on there, but you could honestly just have 2 heroes. That's pretty much all he plays. For First Departure, it's a pretty defensive team by nature, and we can move along to our next player. Come on, Jarrett. Get it together, buddy. He's not mic'd up, so he can't argue with me. Hana, of course, playing that kind of utility role for the team. Lone Druid, Clockwork, Darkseer. We saw him go solo mid Lone Druid in one game. And
yes, we did.
He dominated that lane, so we'll see if it comes out again. And this is a team that's a little bit more versatile in terms of their roles, if not their style, than what you would expect, because they do have, and oftentimes, a support player in Scripted who does play the carry Chaos Knight. When they go for the Wisp, mainly, we saw him taking the safe lane farming role. Will he do it again today? I think it mostly comes down to whether or not they get the Wisp. So, our final player for the team, it's going to be Lubby. And I would say he's the most stable and kind of consistent player on the team. Not flashy, not explosive, but he gets the job done.
And no signature hero Wisp on Miracle?
Yeah, somebody was slacking. That should have been updated immediately after the last day. Gods actually was talking to me about it, and he said Miracle apparently listed Wisp as one of his top 3 heroes. God said, no, you don't play Wisp. I haven't cast you playing it, so it doesn't count.
On
Miracle
a Rattlesnake.
proved us wrong yesterday. And on the side of Rattlesnake, of course, we'll start it off with Icy. He's going to be playing that carry role for the team, and it's an aggressive carry role. He doesn't sit back and just farm. He joins the fights. We saw that whether it's a safe lane Queen of Pain, even if it's someone like a Lone Druid. Frankly, I haven't seen him play that much recently. It feels like more heroes like the Gyrocopter, the Queen of Pain, semi-carries or carries that can come to the fights and be aggressive early. We'll continue moving here through our players. The next one is Luo. And, oh boy, this guy and his Kunkka. Are we going to see it again? That's what I'm excited for. Who knows if it comes out. And in the meantime, well, Ogre Magi solo mid. A man can dream. Lamb, no Tiny. Again, somebody dropping the ball here. Really should have that carry Tiny on this card. Everybody frantically shaking their heads with disappointment. And they're not shaking their heads about that, but we'll pretend they are. Moving right along to our next player, we have Kabu. Known for his Clockwork. Really just such a consistent Clockwork player. If you ban it, if you take it away, I do feel it hurts Rattlesnake quite a bit.
Indeed. And I think we only saw them lose one game with Kabu as Clockwork, but it was that very, very close game that we saw from Rattlesnake and First Departure. But his signature hero, definitely Clockwork, plays that hero almost to perfection.
Last but not least, rounding out the 5-man roster, we have, oh my goodness,
Sagheart M.
Saghart M. Well, he's their support player. He's a very consistent and defensive one, like God's mentioned, also known for his Earthshaker play. Well, let's see. That introduces our two teams. I think we can talk a little bit more about the hexagons. Do we have hexagons?
Hexagons!
Kyle? Where are hexagons, man?
9 drafting for Rattlesnake.
We do have hexagons. We'll start with first departure. I like that this says 5 on experience because I do feel that's where they're lacking. Sure, they took that one series off of Rattlesnake, but this is a do-or-die game, and that's where I feel experience really comes into play.
I think if there was a bar for adaptability, I would put that at like 8 or 9, just because we saw them get crushed in the first game versus Rattlesnake, but they completely turned it around. Miracle showing his wisp off to the world and just being shying away from that split pusher that we all know and love him for, and I think that really, really sealed the deal for them in that first BO3.
Yeah, they have the skill. They have the potential. They can beat Rattlesnake. Will they be able to put that win together? That's a lot harder to say. So, of course, on the side of Rattlesnake, well, a team that has higher marks, and I feel deservedly so. They made a deep run in the G1 League. Qualifiers didn't finish the job, but they got far, and they've shown that they can take games off of the top teams. I still expect them to go deep in this tournament, but they've got to go through first departure first. So we've gone through the hexagons. We've gone through the players. Let's talk a little bit more about the matchup, Merlini. I mentioned Kabu's Clockwork. We talked about Miracle's Wisp, if they're going to get it. Any other keys to the game? Heroes, styles? What are you looking for?
I mean, I think that Rattlesnake really relies on a very strong, aggressive early game. And the game that First Departures won, Rattlesnake was just met with constant, perfect reaction by First Departure. And if First Departure can continue to do that and just shut out their early game and sort of gain that foothold and just prevent them from steamrolling like we saw them do versus Dreams, then I think they can take it down. But if they just let them run away with the early game and get off to maybe like a 10-kill advantage, I think that might even be too much for them to overcome.
To sort of piggyback off of that, I feel the key for First Departure here, they can't play too passively, because if they do, Rattlesnake, we've seen, they'll go for 4 cores, and they will just out-farm you. They'll take advantage of the fact that they have more heroes that scale or pack more of a mid-game punch. If you don't punish them in the laning stage, or at least pick aggressively enough to force them to not be greedy, they're going to get greedy, and they're going to make you pay later on.
Right.
So we've talked a lot about the matchup. Let's throw it over to the casters. Lumi, AUI, what do you guys think about this matchup? What are going to be some of your keys to the game?
My key is going to surround back on the supports. The support rotation was very, very strong yesterday. I feel like all 3 games, or actually game 1, game 2, the support came right out of the gates, was able to pick off a couple of heroes, knock down some tier 1 towers. They were completely flat game 3, and that's why I feel like Rattlesnake had a tough time. So for me, if Rattlesnake support get off to the good start they usually get off, the game is smooth sailing from that point. Luo is going to have a good game, Kabu's going to have a good game, and everybody else will follow through. IC is going to be that aggressive carry like LD and Ben was talking about. So supports.
Yeah, the supports are definitely going to control the early game movement and that will really stop the rest of the game. And I think for these two teams especially, I think that early game lead is just so important. The way they play, like when you're running a greedy lineup, if your supports can't make stuff happen, then you're just going to get pushed and out-map controlled, and your carries or your tri-core, your quad-core, as Aldi mentioned, might just get completely out-farmed. I'm not too sure if they'll actually do a quad-core. I think that's pretty rare and really situational, but I can definitely see them doing a tri-core in this situation.
Yeah, tri-core, and maybe even having a 4 farmer from time to time, getting some EXP from the laning situation. So I think that's the key that we're going to be looking for throughout the draft, as well as throughout the pick and ban, and how in terms of how they're laning it. Looks like most teams are ready to go. The casters are ready to go. I hope you guys are ready, because this matchup, this best of 3, will determine who goes home and who gets to stay alive. We're still in high pressure situation. This is a rematch from yesterday's best of 3 series. Where's your money on?
I mean, I would have to give it to Rattlesnake.
Again?
Yeah.
Even with the performance yesterday and how it ended up?
Yeah. I would say 2-0 still. 2-0. I think that even though they lost to FD last time, I think they should have won the second game in that series quite handily. And I think they're going to maybe pick up item builds that are a bit more standard this time.
Okay, fair enough. I'm with you here as well. 2-0 on Rattlesnake. I feel like their supports are just better, flat out in terms of comparison. So I imagine they will start early, and hopefully they don't throw away the lead that they had yesterday.
It looks like we're actually going to have a quick rehost according to our model, though, or our admin Atri, although the draft is underway, but we will see the players disconnecting. So while we're waiting for the remake, AUI, I actually feel your team is very similar to Rattlesnake. I mean, you mentioned you don't expect to see a quad core, but they like to pick at least 3 heroes that need a lot of farm, that scale well. How do you game plan against that kind of style? You play it a lot. I assume if anyone knows how to deal with it, it's probably someone who executes it every day. So AUI, tell me, how do you beat that kind of style? How do you beat Dignitas?
Well, that's definitely what
I
I,
don't
want
think-
to
I don't
tell
think-
teams.
Wait, all your secrets
Coming
right
up
now.
right
We
to
brought you in.
TI3
You owe us this.
DreamHack. I mean, you're going to have your supports move a lot.
Keep looking at him.
And that's pretty much it. You're like, if you're going up against a greedy lineup, you either have to shut them down early or be greedy yourself. That's how to. You know, I've never really looked too much into how to beat us because I don't really worry about that too much. But
That's okay. I can sell you it for 3 simple installments of $5.99. That's what I'm here for.
you are the LGD coach.
The LGD coach soon. I may be the Dignitas coach, and well, we'll see how many games Dignitas wins after I'm done with them.
Though.
Yeah, we're working on that. Well, we're gonna wait for a quick rehost here. Game should be getting underway really soon. So we started to go through predictions. Merlini, what are your predictions? What do you think? Can First Departure take a game? Can they take the series?
I think so. Rattlesnake has just been looking like really fine in these past couple of games, though. I mean, they really did not shake or slip at all in the series versus Dreams, and whether it is due to Dreams' poor play or Rattlesnake's fantastic play, I think it's more of the latter. And I mean, I think they're well prepared to take this down against First Departure. I don't know how many tricks they have up their sleeve without the Wisp, and we already saw Rattlesnake just destroy the split push lineup that First Departure has to offer. So without the Wisp and without that, I think that Rattlesnake is just more of a solid team overall, more experienced, and will just be able to just crush them.
I'm actually gonna say, yesterday I said I didn't think First Departure had a chance, but after seeing them yesterday, I feel if Miracle gets anti-mage and they don't lose the lanes too hard early, let's say Poisson has a decent start on a Queen of Pain, or not a Queen of Pain, a Puck, a Magnus, a hero like that, who can control the game and stall it. First Departure has won so many games base trading, split pushing. If it ever gets into that kind of situation, they will prevail. So I'm going to give them a chance to at least take one game. I don't think it'll be a Wisp, though. I think it'll be a split push style. I'm just going to throw that out there. We'll see what actually happens. We're currently waiting for the players to jump inside the game. So, Merlini,
Yeah, I mean,
any jokes for us?
Rattlesnake has just been doing a fantastic job of being efficient around the map and applying so much pressure to them around.
That's not a joke.
Come on.
That's not a joke.
I don't have as good ones as Owie. So what do you call a
You said
bear?
you have one good one.
I have one joke. Okay, so what do you call a nosy pepper, LD? A nosy pepper. I'll give you a minute.
Pepper nose.
Wow, okay. Jalapeno business. Okay. You're supposed to laugh, Kawa.
He's been building this one up for at least the past 2 days.
I mean, me and Owie.
I am very disappointed.
Well,
Like we flew you out.
we
here.
have to keep it clean, okay?
Can we
I
send-
have many rated R jokes,
Can we
and
send-
I don't think that those are appropriate for
Guys,
air.
how do you feel about sending him back early?
Well, is
Like,
it
that's
is
the
it like
joke.
Dreams 2 out of 10 level or the
I-
10 out of 10
I
Pinoy
thought
troll
it
level?
was pretty punny.
My joke predict the future, so I don't know. My jokes
That's
have-
first of all, that's bad English. Secondly, that doesn't make sense.
Look, I said dreams will be crushed, and dreams were crushed in more than one way.
Dreams will be crushed.
Yeah,
Heard it from Louis.
there you go.
I mean, when you make a full-time career out of hating Pinoy Dota and Pinoy players, you're gonna hit once in a while.
Once in a while.
It's like you throw 50 darts at a board.
Once in a
one
while.
One of them may connect.
This is not a spray and parade. This is like when have they actually won? I'm trying to think.
SMM last year.
Well, you called them a free team. I don't know if that fits your reference, but
It's okay because Lumi, of course, has a storied history as a competitive player. He's taken
I
out
really do.
quite
I
a few
really do.
Pinoys in his
Yeah.
day.
enlighten me, please, dear sir.
Oh, that's it. He has.
Definitely
I
has
swear.
the most competitive experience out of
Enlighten us.
all the people in this room. So
What's wrong with Pinoys?
nothing's wrong. I love Pinoys.
What's your
Why is
idea?
this like turning into a
You're like,
hating
or it
Pinoy
could be
show?
like a good team, or it could be like Dreams. Mutually exclusive, clearly in Lumi's book.
I think everybody's going on a tangent, really. But thankfully, the
he's
game is actually back on track. Let's get back onto business and cast some Dota. Ready, Ali?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe.
Go, Ali, go.
Game rescue me,
Is he Ali now?
please.
Is that what we're going with?
It's AUI or Ali or
Ali?
Ali.
All right, guys, it's game 1 of the best of 3. Loser is going to go home. Rattlesnake Gaming versus First Departure. This best of 3 decides everything for Group A. Lumi, AUI, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final match, final best of 3 series between First Departure and Rattlesnake of a Group A. Winner goes home, loser. Wait, did I get it? No, winner goes on, loser goes home. Of course, I am Luminous, messing up all the English, and joining me alongside for this cast is none other than Dignitas, AUI 2000.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for that follow-up here. Looks like Departure is going to have the first pick and first pan on the Radiant side. Of course, this is a kind of a revisit of a best of 3. Everybody in the studio predicted a Rattlesnake 2-1 or a 2-0. But of course, last time when we made this prediction, Rattlesnake was knocked down. This time, if you get knocked down, you're out. You don't get back up. Kabu is going to be, or Clockwork's going to be banned out here from Kabu, as this is seems to be the response from every single team so far. You just don't give that guy a Clockwork. He runs it sort of like a support clock, is a support clock for most of the time, but has really effectiveness like a solo mid block. Just mid-game hit hooks and win team fights.
Yeah, his Clockwork did so much work, especially in that first game that Rattlesnake just played. I mean, FD was definitely watching their Rattlesnake play against streams, so I don't know. That Clockwork at one point, he's like 1-1 to 15. I think his score only actually got better from there. And he just makes so much stuff happen on the map with very little farm, which is impressive.
Yeah, and the other picks are somewhat self-explanatory. Rattlesnake Gaming banning Nyx Assassin 3 games in a row, which normally I won't point this out, but compared to the rest of the scene, isn't a support that you usually target too much. Any reason why, in terms of particularly how Rattlesnake likes to play, they like to kind of roam their supports a lot. Is this particularly a support that you don't want to deal with if you're playing Rattlesnake's playstyle?
Honestly, I'm not too sure why they prioritize him as a first ban. I don't even know if he would get picked in the first 3, but like they might know something about the other teams and run really good Nyx if they're personally weak against Nyx. Because playing against playing against Nyx is often hard. Sometimes you have to like just guess. You drop a obs lane ward, you have to drop a sentry with it, and then you have to get a pick off. And if you miss that sentry, oftentimes your supports get behind it, and Nyx can sort of kill them in a mid game, snowball off that, and he becomes problematic. He's also incredibly annoying to play against.
Mm-hmm.
And while that's not necessarily a good reason to ban a hero, he's annoying for a reason, right? Like, if he ever gets a fast blink, he has like a 5-second AoE stun basically if he maxes his Q and his E.
Yeah, I saw today in your game, Dignitas versus Navi, even though your supports are completely prepared all the time with Sentry, sometimes you just don't know where he is.
Yeah.
He's just annoying to play against, and maybe that's why they're banning him first. Shadow Demon and Magnus is going to be the 2 pick here for Rattlesnake. We don't see Lone Dra first pick a lot, but I think a lot of us agree that he is somewhat of an insanely broken hero. Once you give him that kind of first 10-minute free farm, he just gets unstoppable. Shadow Demon and Magnus as a return pickup, you think this is kind of a fair trade for Lone Druid, or do you in fact Lone Druid might not even be first pick worthy?
No, I think Lone Druid's a pretty strong first pick. Shadow Demon is obviously a very good support. Magnus is a good mid. Lone Druid, he's strong because he wins most of his 1v1s.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, we saw in the last game actually that Quinn Payne did very well against him, but I think that was more due to the Lone Druid's inexperience in the lane. I don't think he's played that lane more than once or twice from what I've seen. He didn't really pull it back to his tower, and it was a bit odd because the Queen of Pain was able to push off lane, but I don't expect that the first departure Lone Druid will get pushed off lane like that. Something else is that if you pick up the Lone Druid first, it really opens up your lanes because he can go short lane, he can go long lane, he can even mid.
Yep.
And in every single lane, he's quite dominant.
Yeah, we saw first departure yesterday lane the Lone Druid mid, and I think the other side was Luo's Kunkka, so we may or may not actually see that same matchup. We do have the Shadow Demon set up here as well, but of course Magnus is going to be your go-to mid hero unless something crazy happened. But it's like you said, keeping your lanes very versatile without losing on the power of your lane itself. And Lone Druid, that's why he is constantly a first pick, first ban kind of hero for most of the Southern East Asian scene. We're back to the first departure, second and third pick up here as well. Keep in mind again, oh, there you go. It's going to be the Wisp. Of course, Miracle was kind of the star player, the talk of the match, talk of the day. It's going to be a Wisp CK. You also was playing Wisp CK today. This is a hero combo that is just insanely powerful. Even if your CK doesn't get enough farm, even if your Wisp by themselves don't get enough levels, they just glue so well together. And if anybody gets caught out in a team fight, or if anybody's getting caught out just roaming down the river, they get a ton of kills. And because they have so much mobility, they could not only kill the hero that they're originally targeting, you could follow up and kill a couple others as well.
Yeah, for sure. It just has so much disable, so much damage. It's tanky, you're mobile, and CK can go late game. If Chaos Knight actually skips his BKB and goes something like a Treads Armlet's Heart into something like a Skady or Manta, he actually does ridiculous amounts of damage. It's actually really silly with Phantasm, and I'm actually curious how much they've played the Wisp CK combo, just because even though like First Departure, I think they've picked him the most out of any team, clearly. From what we've seen in the qualifiers, yeah, out of the East scene. I don't know how proficient they are at just pulling mid, and pulling mid on the Wisp is so good because a lot of the responses to a CK Wisp or to a Wisp in general in the East scene is that, hey, they have a Wisp, you go fight them in lane, and you try to beat him. But if you put a CK Wisp mid, he just pulls, and there's really nothing you can do against that, because what you can do is you tether while the creep hits are attacking you, and then you get hit next to your creep wave, so that pulls it. So even though the pull tether range sure got nerfed, he can still pull every camp except for the melee one, and that one you can just stack and pull it after.
Yeah, to kind of clarify what Aoi was talking about, you could easily destroy that patch of trees that blocks the pull camp with your tether, and afterwards you use that tether to basically drag the creep aggro a little bit. And as soon as your creeps kind of detect that the neutrals are hitting you, you make that pull a lot easier than normal, and you get the mid pull going on. So imagine basically in the mid lane situation, it's a 1v1 between CK and insert the solo mid, like maybe it's Magnus in this case. But not only that, it's a sort of a 2v1 because Wisp pops in once in a while, do a little bit of harassing, do a little bit of healing. But he also denies the EXP that Magnus will be taking in. So it's basically a full 2v1 situation with sort of a Lich-esque effect in the lane. It is very, very hard without the backup support for Magnus in this case so far. But right now we see Visage as this hero that's kind of what Rattlesnake fell in the hands of yesterday against First Departure. Miracle, I think, was playing that time in Game 3. Very explosive hero. And to me, a very good hero to counter Wisp. Simply the fact that sometimes against a CK Wisp combo, taking away Wisp's ability to heal, taking Wisp's ability to overcharge is key. And having a continuously spammy nuke from Visage, that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Rattlesnake actually really wanted that last track. I think they wanted to do something similar to what LGD did in the first game, where you have aggressive trialing with the last track. You put a strong solo in your short lane, and you can rotate the two supports around depending on the lanes. And last track Chowding and Visage is really, really strong. So that's a pretty strong move by them. And this is a Darkseer pickup.
Well,
that's weird.
That's a Shadow Fiend pickup as well. Yeah, so Darkseer being picked up. Again, the lanes you kind of talked about in terms of versatility is still here. Darkseer, Lone Druid, CK Wisp could basically go into any laning situation. I don't want to take a guess in terms of what they will lane to, but I guess the standard thing could be Darkseer top, CK Wisp mid, and Lone Druid on the safe lane with the roaming support.
I think they might actually just put Darkseer mid, Lone Druid top, and a tri-lane bottom.
Defensive tri-lane,
yeah. I don't even know if I would prefer anything else other than that. Like, CK Wisp mid is sort of nice, but then you'd have to sort of put Darkseer in the jungle, and it's sort of hard against a Visage, just because that hero makes his entire team's laning presence so strong.
You were kind of very impressed with this hero. You were saying throughout the weekend, Visage is OP, Visage is insane.
He's my favorite pub hero. So
he's your favorite pub hero, but this is not a pub situation. They're pairing with the Shadow Fiend, and most likely as a support at Visage.
It's sort of cool that they paired with Shadow Fiend actually, because the minus aura is actually incredibly effective against the Lone Druid Bear. And if you've ever seen a Visage with Medallion, heroes just melt. But then Shadow Fiend's like a Medallion on everyone. So everyone melts.
Yeah.
Something else is that you ever get 2 Visage stuns onto the Wisp and CK when they poured in,
5 seconds remaining.
Pretty much win a team fight from that. You can burst down the Wisp in those fights, and that's a Drow Ranger. Yo, Visage Birds plus Drow Ranger is awesome.
That is the combo, and we'll see how far they take this combo. Not only that, you talked about the aura synergy just with the birds. Everybody on the team will be benefiting from that. There is Empower on top. There is a slow, and more importantly, how how great is that silence against a Darkseer that runs in, against a port in from a CK Wisp, against a Rubik that's going to be casting a ton of spell. If he lands his silence, you win team fights.
Yeah.
This is one of my first time seeing Drill Ranger. I believe EG ran it a little bit back, a couple weeks back. But this is a little bit of a different beast. They're going to be focusing a little bit more on team fight. Of course, Shadow Fiend could be basically snowballing out of control. I imagine he's going to be getting safe lane farm, but this is kind of a... How do you actually lane this for Rattlesnake? I'm kind of
10
confused.
seconds remaining.
It looks like a Meg offlane, I guess, and a Shadow Fiend mid just because he has that drawer.
5 seconds remaining.
But he loses every lane, right?
Shadow Fiend with drawer does very well versus Darkseer. Actually, Shadow Fiend in general does very well versus Darkseer.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I guess the first wave is a little bit difficult, but
So,
you do get...
Well, what you do with the Shadow Fiend mid is you have 1 or 2 supports. They cap mid for the first 30 seconds, 1 minute. Once he gets his first wave souls up, he...
Plus 8 damage.
Yeah. Well, it's more than that because you get the denies too, right? So it's like plus 16 damage.
Okay.
Then he's hitting for like 60 damage, and it just increases from there. He's very good if he gets a lead in lane.
Okay.
He actually stomps Darkseer very hard if he can get that lead. So I hope that First Departure actually react to this. They change the lanes up a little bit. I'd like to see that CK West move back to mid. Maybe a Darkseer sack a Lone Druid Rubik dual lane bottom. If they see the Megas down there, they can even give the bear to the Darkseer so he can pull around with it, get a few levels. One thing to know is that Joe Ranger's Ice Arrows were bugged against the Lone Druid bear up until relatively recently. Luckily, they don't... Merlini just coughed and died. Luckily, they don't slow the bear for 8 seconds anymore. So that's one thing I'm not too sure if Rattlesnake knows about.
So you're saying the Ice Heroes treating the bear as like a creep
It used
when
to,
it's not
yeah, it used to treat
supposed to
the
treat.
bear as a creep, but they fixed that.
Okay.
Well, it really shouldn't matter. Joe Ranger is so hard to lane Lone Druid against. So that's why I also sort of don't want to see that bear as a sack. Once Joe Ranger hits like level 3, you basically can't lane.
For the Lone Druid.
Yeah, the Lone Druid basically can't lane. They get anything on you.
Okay.
They kill your hero. They can kill your bear. Like, farming the jungle would be more efficient. Something else to note is that illusions actually give
Radiant
auras,
structures
so that might come into play for First Departure here. Because if they get a good Darkseer wall off and a Shadow Fiend image stays
Oh,
alive,
yeah,
the
that's
Droll
huge.
image stays alive, they have a minus armor, they have a Droll aura, like Droll aura. And they don't have that many range heroes, but hey, the Wisp will be hitting for 200 damage.
Yep. Well, I'm not sure how long the Wisp is going to stay alive to hit for 200 damage. That's the big thing here. Let's actually take a little bit of time here to introduce our players as they're kind of pausing back and forth, connecting and disconnecting. On the side of Rattlesnake, Lamb will be playing Magnus. We're guessing it's off lane, but so far, judging from his item purchase, it could be a solo mid. Icy will be playing Drow Ranger, very aptly named. Luo, generally the solo mid, is going to be handling Shadow Fiend. I'm guessing he's going to be on safe lane, but we'll see how it goes.
Is
Kabu, support Shadow Demon.
Yeah.
And then we have Sagam Neo playing Visage.
That's an aggressive tri-lane Drow Ranger.
Yeah, I've never seen this one before, and I don't think you have.
I've never seen that either.
So you were talking about